This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, continuing to go around SEC camps and get some updates from what's happening in different places. We talked those weapons, obviously at Georgia, and what that's going to look like. Major question coming out of Fayetteville is going to be what Taylor Green's weapons look like, because it's pretty much been overhauled. Matthew Byrne joining us now, covers the Razorbacks for Arkansas Online. You can follow him on Twitter at Matthew Byrne, the number 1. What are we hearing, Matthew, about this receiver core, this tight end group? Because outside of a couple running backs, I just don't feel like we know much of anything how what's going to be around Taylor Green is really going to look this year for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, basically the skill positions, all of them are looking new. Mike Washington figures to be that starting running back, and then the receivers, you got Omega Blake from Charlotte. He's been one of their top wideouts in camp. Raylan Sharp is a guy in the slot coming from Fresno State that's actually childhood friends with Taylor Green from Texas, so it's not as much of a bridge as you might think. He connected on a big touchdown pass yesterday on a blown coverage. And then that third guy as of right now is C.J. Brown, is an in-house guy, but it was Ismail Cece, who's a transfer from Stanford. He had a weightlifting accident, tore some ligaments in that wrist. He had surgery on that, so he's been out on the sidelines. But those are the 3 receivers you're really looking at. And then tight end, again, is new as well. It's right now, Rohan Jones, transfer from Montana State, has been taking the majority of snaps with the starters in their fastball starts.
Looking at just kind of all the new pieces, it feels almost impossible to get continuity, but you do have Bobby Petrino back, and it feels like there could be the next layer of what they're trying to be offensively with Taylor Green. So you referenced the wideouts, that being a huge question mark. I'm a little more concerned about what things look like along the offensive line. Are they going to be able to protect Taylor Green this year? They feel like they've made progress there?
Well, yeah, and I mean, just talking with continuity, it seems almost very, very difficult right now to have in the college landscape with so much movement. Eric Mateos is returning for his second year in offensive line. Seems like he's had a little bit more time to build out his line. Went and got Corey Robinson, a left tackle from Georgia Tech. Really liked his pass protect. And then right now, he said yesterday that they're working on the run protect. Fernando Carmona is an in-house guy, a starter, a veteran. He's going to be moving inside to guard. Still a little bit of a learning curve. They went out. They got Central Florida transfer Caden Kittler. And then on the right side, it's an in-house 3-man battle for the right guard. And Kobe Branham, the redshirt freshman, has actually been making big strides as of late. It seems like they're pretty high on him. So, I mean, it's kind of tough because when you're watching these fastballs, the pocket hasn't really collapsed much. They've done a great job of protecting the quarterbacks, but it seems like sometimes you might have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. I mean, that's the first drill that they're doing in camp. It doesn't really seem like, defensive linemen want to get through, but they probably don't want to kill their quarterback to start a practice. And yesterday was the first full day of full pads, and now is closed to media. So in a few one-on-ones this week, the offensive line has been winning over the defensive line. So it's a little bit tough because then you're like, hey, what do you sort of take from that? Are you happy with the offensive line and then equally unsatisfied with the defensive line? So right now it's pretty hard to tell. There's a few, but basically the main takeaway is that there's a few new guys that they're high on and then a few returners to build it out.
All right, so when you look at just Taylor Green individually, how do you expect him to make a leap year 2 under Bobby Petrino? It's part of me looks at this and says, I know Bobby can call plays. I know how talented Taylor is. I expect there to be some sort of leap, but then we go through all the things you just ran through, and Matthew, and I don't know if we're going to see that from him. What do you think the expectation is from this staff of how far Taylor Green can go as opposed to where he was a year ago?
Well, I mean, I would definitely be interested to see in how much he's able to share the ball with his receivers, just because Andrew Armstrong, more than doubled any other Arkansas receiver in receptions, yards, not as much touchdowns, but still. And that's something that they're big on. The wide receivers coach, Ronnie Fouch, is just in here a few days ago saying that, a Bobby Petrino offense likes to spread the ball around and sort of feed the studs. And Andrew Armstrong was such a stud far and away that you think that if Taylor's able to develop that relationship with Raylan Sharp as maybe his A1 guy, but still be able to pass and have other options, that it's just going to make him more deadly on sort of a zone read in the run game. So that's kind of what I'm most interested for, because obviously he does have that running threat as well, which you probably think could be bigger if he has other weapons beside him.
How about defensively? There have been good moments. There have also been moments where it's like, what the heck's going on? I feel like that group in the last 4 or 5 years has been so remarkably inconsistent. Some weeks they're great, a la Tennessee last year. Some weeks they gave up 700 yards rushing. It's like insane. I never really know what to expect. So overall, just top to bottom, how good do they feel about their defense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they themselves in-house are feeling pretty good about it. A big position battle right now that they're trying to figure out is cornerback. That's kind of their biggest target. Sort of the hallmark of that group is that they have some really big, heavy, guys in the secondary. Like a Larry Worth or like a Julian Neal, a Jordan Young, Selman Bridges. So there's a lot of rotation going on in the secondary and fastball starts. Other than that, linebackers is obviously going to be a big returning focal point, just with Steven Dix and Xavier Sori. I mean, those are really the main double-digit starters from last season. And then on the defensive line, Cam Ball anchors it. And then, there's a few question marks. There's 2 guys that, were with the Hogs last year, got to step up. And then they get Justice Boone, the end from Florida. That's also what's that going to look like. So right now, to answer that, it corner is the biggest thing, and then they'll fill stuff out. But they feel like they have a lot of guys that can play a lot of different positions in that secondary and move around a lot.
Visiting with Matthew Byrne, talking Arkansas football. How healthy are the Hogs right now? Injuries a little bit of an issue last year, and with very little depth returning, and obviously some new players added through the portal. How's the health been so far through camp?
Yeah, so kind of the biggest thing to look out for is Caden Kittler, is the center I was talking about from UCF. He was a little bit banged up yesterday, which was basically a new development. But we knew going into camp that CC was going to be out. And Sam Pittman's thrown around words like probably done for the season or, kind of likely to miss the season. So that's kind of a big loss. But other than that, I mean, saying other than that when it's a big loss, but really those are kind of the main 2 right now. And we'll keep an eye out for stuff as it goes through camp. Going to be at practice 7 later this morning.
What do you think is the biggest strength of the team overall?
Oh man, I think it kind of just all hinges on Talon at the quarterback spot. I think that's going to be with so many skill guys, with so many new skill guys, and him sort of being the anchor of this offense. I think it's going to come down to him. And certainly, I think he took strides in his first year, and that's kind of the biggest question. Is like second year Talon Green, second year Bobby Petrino. In that system. But I think it's just going to be in determining how sort of like the season plays out. Like, I think it's just going to be a tale of what wins. There's so many things almost going for you. Like, Travis Williams, 3rd year as a defensive coordinator, Petrino, 2nd year, a few other guys that are coming back in their 2nd years. So you're saying, this is great. There's familiarity, there's comfortability here. But then on the equal opposite side, there's so many new pieces as well. So it's like, how does a new position, how does a new skill group fit within, a new Bobby Petrino offense, minus Raylan Sharp, who already knows the system, and how that's going to play together. So I think that's the biggest thing right now. Continuity is hard in college football, but I think that's the biggest question. But I think their strength is definitely Talon, and it honestly needs to be.
Matthew, we appreciate the time. Great insight to this Arkansas program that we have a lot of questions about. There's a lot of it that we have uncertainties with. A couple things we feel really good about, but just some unknowns there, and you cleared up a few as we've gotten here, reaching the halfway point of fall camp. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Matthew Byrne joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Again, you can find his work at Matthew Byrne, the number 1, or at arkansasonline.com, covering the Razorbacks. I don't know truly how much more clarity that brought, G-Mac. I mean, I think the weapon's still just going to be a massive question. If they can find a way to gel, if they can find a way to separate, make some plays for Taylor Green, specifically that offensive line, if they can find a way to go out and give him a little bit better protection, even though he's got that escapability, I mean, they can be scary. I don't think there's any doubt about it, that they can be a team that moves the football and is a problem for a lot of folks.
They're going to score. Like I still, even with their weapons, those guys have played college football before. Like Omega Blake's been around for a long time. I'm not that concerned about their ability to score. I just wonder, I mean, the secondary's been a problem for how many years now? 5, maybe? I mean, and I'm talking like real problem, where they had guys in the back end that were just major liabilities. So I think secondary, I think depth on the defense at all 3 levels is something that has me a bit concerned. But I do think they're one of the few teams that I know can move the football, because I do think their quarterback's got a chance to be transcendent this year if he takes the strides necessary to become a little more consistent thrower and a little better decision maker.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be all right.
All right. So it's going to be a fun year in Fayetteville with that schedule. Like we said, they got a chance to get off to a good start, and then that would provide some massive home games as you would near the halfway point of the season. So I'm interested to see. I know you always want to go, what's the situation with Sam Pittman? But I kind of want to keep these camp updates about the team, about the players. But sometimes I do wonder from folks that cover the team, like, what do they realistically think is going to happen with Sam Pittman? Is he going to be on the move after this year? I don't know what the situation is going to look like, going to be. I don't know where you would go if you were Arkansas based on what he's already proven that he has the ability to do. And we all thought they'd be way ahead of the game in NIL, and it doesn't feel like they really are, which just makes it even more of an intricate case study. What we do know, Greg, is if you need to move out of your home into a new home, Crocker Moving Services can help.
Yeah, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. Look, I've been using these guys for a long time. I've always had a great experience. I'm always very, very grateful to the experience I have when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about making a move, or thinking about having to move some stuff around, or we purchase something, need to get it to our house. It's great to know that I have a trustworthy group at Crocker Moving Services that can get me taken care of. Highly recommend going and checking them out online. CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, we'll get to a break, come back a little bit more around fall camp here in the SEC next on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.